All right, you guys. The lighting in here is horrible, but still wanted to make a video regardless. I am on a absolute journey to finding out the mysteries of longevity. I've been into this health game, so to speak, for about 10 years, maybe a little bit more than 10 years. Towards the end of high school, I became really interested in herbalism after my father brought home a little yellow book about cayenne pepper. That book sat on the coffee table for months. And one night I picked it up and turned the TV off. I was out in the living room and just decided to read it. And when the sun came up that morning, I had finished that book. I just completely absorbed it all. And went out to the health store and bought some cayenne pepper and began using it, experimenting with it. And I was shocked at the results. I felt like I gave something to my body that it greatly needed. Because, you know, up until that point, I had consumed pretty much all the standard American foods that there are to consume. Hot dogs, pretzels, pizzas, sweet foods, sugary foods, desserts, you name it. I had never really given my body anything that it could utilize as some basic building blocks, so to speak. But I remember my first dosage of cayenne pepper towards the end of high school, I believe it was. It really impacted me in a very profound and beneficial way, and that really began a deep interest for me in herbalism, or herbalism as I call it. Because I realized that if something could have that profound of an effect on my well-being and my physiology, my body, then nature has a lot of power. I really became fascinated with the power of natural medicines. And one thing led to another, and I'm still just as interested. In fact, I get more and more interested in natural healing and longevity and immortality and so many different subjects every day, because every day I'm cultivating more and more of that into my life through experimentation, research, trial and error, you name it. So, a little book about cayenne pepper really was my gateway into natural healing and herbalism and things like that. It really... You know, after I took that first cayenne pepper dose, I began experimenting with various forms of cayenne pepper. I went from 25,000 heat unit cayenne pepper up to 40, up to 90, up to 110 and beyond. Then I started utilizing the habeneros, the scotch bonnets, the trinidad scorpions, the naga vipers, the Carolina reapers, the Thai chili peppers, the wax peppers, the scotch bonnets. I think I might have said that already. The habaneros, the fetale peppers, or the chocolate habaneros, excuse me. The fetales. There are so many different types of peppers. So when I first got interested in health, it was because I was using cayenne pepper, and that book was talking about how good cayenne pepper is for the heart. So I started I started to approach natural healing from trying to take care of my heart first. Some people will try to take care of their brain when they first get interested into naturalism and stuff like that. Some people will try to take care of their whole body. I wanted to take care of my heart because I felt like my heart was probably the one thing that was under the biggest assault here in the Matrix. Because of all of the clogged arteries and all the foods that we eat, ladies and gentlemen, affect every part of our physiology, whether for benefit or for negativity. Foods either uplift your health or destroy it. And a lot of the foods directly affect the heart. They weaken the heart. They damage the integrity of the heart. They clog up the valves. They clog up the circulatory system of the biology, of the physiology. So I started really trying to nourish my heart, because I figured after years and years and years of eating standard American foods, my heart was probably in dire need of not only some nutrition, but some plumbing, and that's what cayenne pepper appears to be able to do. It appears to increase circulation and clear out blockages within your internal plumbing, within your circulatory system. So, but one thing led to another. I don't want to rant about that too much. People have asked me in the past, how did you get interested in all this? It's because of a little book that a friend of my dad's gave it to him. I can't remember why. And my dad put that book on the coffee table, and it sat there for months collecting dust. I never really knew that little book that I shunned for so long would lead to such a drastic change in my life. But again, the experiments with cayenne pepper affected me so much that I began to experiment with other things. I told myself, okay, if cayenne pepper can affect me like this, what can the other herbs do? What can things like gotu kola do? So I began experimenting with gotu kola, which is a nervine. It affects the cerebrospinal system. It's a brain tonic. I began experimenting with hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berries are also another heart tonic. I began mixing hawthorn berry, cayenne pepper, and gotu kola powder into one potion and drinking that. Began to experiment heavily with a handful of different things where I would consume them in an isolated form, then I would consume them mixed together, and I would document my discoveries. And one thing led to another. I still consume cayenne pepper. I still consume hawthorn berry. I still consume gotu kola on occasion. But it was the drastic effect of my initial experiences and experiments with herbalism that showed me that nature has some amazing power. Because I had gone my entire life up until that point nourishing myself with nonsense, nourishing myself with foods that weren't nourishing. Now they were, however, emotionally nourishing because there was a lot of love put into those foods. I was extracting the spiritual love out of the food, but the food, unfortunately, just didn't have the amount of amino acids that my body needed to rebuild itself and maintain healthy homeostasis. It didn't have the chlorophylls, the pigments, the minerals. So going so long on foods like that and then putting a mega dose of nutrition into your system, after being on those foods for so long and then kind of indirectly not knowing what was going to happen, I put the cayenne pepper into my system and experienced this profound upliftment of my consciousness. I felt very, very healthy. My skin developed kind of a rosy glow the first time I took it, and that's because of the increase in blood, the circulation. It's like I was like giving myself a roto-rooter and just unclogging all the blockages in my circulatory system. But now that I'm 29, pushing 30, I'm still just as fascinated in the healing arts as I ever was. This is my passion. I want to discover what we can do with this biology when it's healthy. I believe that the biology can experience a much greater state of consciousness and physiological well-being. I believe that we can live past 200. I believe that we can perform miracles with this machine that we've been given. Reality can become much more interesting when we begin to use more of our brain power and more of the potential of our DNA, our genetics. Our genetics are kept kind of at a minimum in terms of their potential. Our DNA, our genetics, our chromosomes, our biology, physiology is kept at a very small percentage of its capability, predicated upon the way that we think, feel, the way we act, the way we eat, the things we eat, and how they affect us. We engage in a day-to-day lifestyle, a day-to-day algorithm that actually separates us from evolving. So I hope that my channel can serve as a platform for you to become more interested in your own personal evolution. And if you're already on the path, I hope that my messages, my channel, my passion, my inspiration, I hope it can inspire you, is what I'm getting at. I hope it can act as fuel along the path, because it's very easy to become discouraged here in this material matrix where the booby traps are set up for you. The traps that accompany the expansion of consciousness, the evolution of the consciousness, are many. The ancient sages were privy to this, so they resorted to natural medicines, the herbs, the superior herbs in Chinese tonic herbalism, to maintain health and to keep their minds open so that they could see past the traps, so they could walk the narrow path and still be balanced, because it's very easy to become unbalanced here. It's very easy. It's much easier, let's put it this way, to become unbalanced in this world than it is to maintain balance and to cultivate balance. Once you separate yourself from balance and you come out of balance, you can become part of what's called as the law of vicious cycles, where once you fall out of balance, one thing happens that's kind of vicious, one thing that separates you from your balance, that leads to like 10 other things that take you away from your balance. And before you know it, you're in this vicious cycle that you don't really know how to get out of anymore. And that's why herbalism can serve a very, very beneficial role in people's lives, in my opinion. These are just my opinions, they're not medical facts. But certain herbs, certain constituents can help you reverse the law of vicious cycles and get you engaged in the law of beneficial cycles. Oftentimes we stay out of balance because we have a nutritional deficit. When we fall out of balance through the law of vicious cycles, we fall short to stress, and we don't know how to get out of these cycles. The cycles can become so innumerable that we adopt them and accept them as part of life. Our unhappiness, we accept it, when we weren't designed to have to experience that. That's what I'm talking about traps. There's many traps out here that will get you enslaved in negative thinking and negativity, both physiological and mentally. Many of the herbs, the superior herbs, can help reverse to some extent the law of vicious cycles and help you get back into beneficial cycles, because they can enhance your cognition, your awareness, your consciousness to the point where you can stand above your cycles, metaphorically speaking. You can realize that this is just a trap of the mind, and all it takes to get out of bad cycles is to stand above them and begin beneficial things. Now, the other way that quality herbs, specific herbs in general, help us get out of vicious cycles is because they are adaptogenic in quality. They're also double directional. Now, adaptogenic herbs, ladies and gentlemen, adaptogenic constituents that nature grows, help us deal with stress and transmute stress. We can now use our stress as a fuel source. The things that stressed us prior don't affect us anymore. Now, when we give in to stress, it puts us into a vicious cycle, because if we don't know how to transmute stress, it bogs us down and confines us and constricts us and just binds us. So with proper thinking and proper nutrition, we can loosen those ties and burst out of it. Adaptogens can help you become much more comfortable in stressful situations, depending on the ones you take, the quality, the concentration, if they're extracted. There's a lot of different things that need to be addressed if you're interested in using adaptogenic constituents. Oftentimes things in the herbal kingdom are much more beneficial and have a much more direct effect on the mind, the consciousness, and the body if they're turned into an extract, such as like a 4-to-1 extract, a 5-to-1 extract, a 3-to-1. So, how far can we push this, ladies and gentlemen? How far can we go with our health? How far can we go with this divine opportunity that we've been given? Life is very precious. I don't want to waste time here. I want to do something productive. I want to do something that can help people. I want to do something that helps myself. I don't want to be out of balance, because when I'm out of balance, the people in my life around me suffer from that, and they can become out of balance because of that. It's funny to note that when people who are highly imbalanced become back into balance, their life and the people around them kind of feed off of that, and they start to become back into balance. Many people are out of balance and they don't even know it. When you start nourishing yourself properly and you start really being able to grasp more of the power of your mind, you can start to see how your thoughts are highly negative. Certain thoughts are suppressed due to lack of nutrition and lack of the spiritual upliftment from certain tonic herbal or certain medicines. Not medicines. Let's rephrase that. I keep getting notifications on my phone. It's throwing me out of balance. All right, you guys. So before that cut off, I was saying how many people have negative thinking and negative thoughts and they aren't even aware of them. Certain herbs, the superior herbs, ladies and gentlemen, not the inferior herbs, can cause the mind to flourish to such an extent where you can actually start to see how there's thoughts and things in your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, that are bringing you down, and that you're radiating that negative energy into the world around you. We'll get into that further in the future. I'm going to wrap this one up. If you're interested in multiple hours of bonus content, hours and hours and hours of videos that you cannot find here on the public YouTube channel, if you want hours of audio uploads that I've posted on the private Patreon page and pictures, and you can have direct access to communication with me, there's polls, all sorts of content, excuse me. If you're interested in that, you can head over to www.patreon.com/sacredserpent to support my cause. There's 5 different reward tiers. There's 5 different subscription options. There's a $5 one, a $15 one, a $25 one. They each have different benefits and perks. So if you're interested in supporting my cause, please go over there to www.patreon.com/sacredserpent and take a look through the reward tiers and find one that suits you and what you want to, find one that suits you. This was kind of a brief video. I wanted to get into a lot of content, but I'm dehydrated and I can't, and my mind's just not working without water. I don't have any in the vehicle. I need to go buy some, so maybe we'll do another rant later in the dark because the sun is going down, and I'll stitch it to this video. If not, this will be like a part 1 series to this this particular subject in this video. Peace out.